Alright, yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Silent, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today, we're going to be doing a react video of Valve and Steam's new love child, which is going to be codenamed Project Sandbox. This is something that they're trying to release to help with the indie game development scene. So if you guys don't know anything about indie games, basically it just means that, like, if you or me or another person who isn't backed by a huge studio were to go out and try to make a game, that would be labeled under an indie game. So this is something that Valve and Steam are trying to do to help revolutionize the way that indie games are going to be made from here on out. That is the goal here, is that they are going to try to make it much more simple, much more streamlined, and much easier for developers to get a hold of these tools. So we're going to watch this video and see what it has to say about it.
For over a decade, the gaming world has been chasing a ghost. That ghost is the Source 2 SDK. Since Valve first teased their new engine, developers have been salivating at the thought of getting their hands on the tools. We've seen what Valve can do with it. We've seen the lighting, the Rubicon physics, and the legendary optimization that makes Valve...
That's actually pretty good. The way that that's moving in the bottle right there, that's pretty crazy.
Like Valve games. But for 10 years, those tools stayed behind a locked door. Unless you were a high-level partner or a Valve employee, you were stuck on the outside looking in. But while we were all waiting for Valve to drop,
I guess that was like the building of a smoke screen right there. That kind of confused me at first until I thought about it, but that's...
tradition.
I guess I've never really thought about it building with... I'm not a developer, by the way. I'm just specifically showing this so that way people can know about it.
No SDK, something was happening in the background at Face Punch Studios. Gary Newman, the creator of Gary's Mod and Rust, was building a love letter to Source 2. He called it Sandbox, or as some say, s&box. For a long time, people thought Sandbox was just going to be Gary's Mod 2, a sandbox where you play other people's creations. But as of March 2026, the entire landscape of indie game development is shifting. The news we have been waiting years for is official. Face Punch has finalized a standalone license with Valve. This means you can now build a game in Sandbox, export it as a standalone executable, and sell it on Steam as your own professional product, completely royalty free. This is the...
So basically, that's what I was trying to say at the start there, is that this is going to be something that they are creating to be like a direct competitor to like Unity or Unreal Engine, where those assets are free in order for you to make a game. But the difference there is that you have to know how to code, you have to know how to make graphics, you have to, personalize stuff, and you're still going to have to know all of that in this, but it's also going to be laid out for you from the ground up. For the most part, you can reuse assets straight from the engine. You can go in here, create a game from the ground up, export it out, put it on the Steam homepage, and then actually make a profit off of it as if it was your game, because it is going to be your game. They are basically making a whole tool for creators to use to build games from the ground up, but with a lot more resources built into it than Unity or Unreal Engine.
s&box is a spiritual successor to Gary's Mod and a love letter to Source 2. It's built to eclipse what was possible before.
That blue light right there hurts my eyes.
Modernize it. We're using Source 2 and everything we've learned from Source 1. Gary's
Lord
Mod,
have mercy,
Unity,
how long are we going to be here?
They aren't trying to make a better Gmod. They are trying to take the best parts of Unity and Unreal and combine them with the Valve feel of Source 2. It's a full game engine and platform where you create in a familiar scene-based editor, but unlike other engines, multiplayer is built in from day one. You create a game and it's instantly playable. As Gary...
That is crazy right there. So I can go in here and create a game using all of these assets and stuff that they give me, and literally from day one, as soon as I finish building that game, I can put it on the page and it is playable multiplayer. That is insane, because a lot of the time, whenever you make your own multiplayer game, you have to have your own servers. You have to pay for like spots on servers. You either have to host your own servers, or there's like a whole bunch of different stuff that you have to go through in order to make a multiplayer game. Okay, it's very costly, it's very time consuming. So that right there is huge. The fact that you can go on here, use all of these assets, make a first person shooter, dial in, use code. You see here that there's a whole box open that you can use to write your own code and stuff like that. Not only just use like what they've given you here. So you can make a first person shooter, use your own line of code here, change the bullet velocities, drop, etc. Basically remake BattleBit or Battlefield in this engine right here and put it on the Steam page, sell sell it for 15, 20 bucks, and then turn it and make it to a, basically flip the game in an indie game and make it into this huge thing right here. This right here is genuinely kind of crazy, what they're trying to do. I don't know how well it's going to work, because obviously everybody's going to have this tool. It's going to be completely free.
Puts it, this is a long-term project. They aren't looking for a quick win. They are building a platform they want to use themselves for the next couple of decades. With the Steam page already live and a full launch window set for April 2026, we are standing on the edge
That's coming
of a
out
new
real
era.
soon, dude.
Anyone who has tried out
Tomorrow is April.
Box already can tell you it has insane potential when it fully launches. The possibilities are essentially endless. So now let's get into the heart of the new developments. On March 25th, 2026, Gary Newman dropped a bombshell in their newsfeed. He stated, "We signed the new license with Valve this week, allowing us to allow people to export games from s&box's editor and ship them as standalone games on Steam, completely royalty-free." He admitted that this wasn't an easy deal to strike. He called it a bit of a complicated journey that required a lot of reassurance and compromises. But in the end, as Gary famously said, Valve did the bizzo. Usually when you license an engine, you are signing away a huge chunk of your wallet. But this deal allows you to take your s&box creation, let's say you made a revolutionary tactical shooter, or maybe even a cozy farming simulator, and then you turn it into a standalone game. The player at home doesn't even need to have s&box installed to see or play your game. You don't owe Valve,
dude, that is insane,
or face punch a single cent in royalties for using their engine. s&box is entering the market and saying, keep your money. You owe nothing for using the Source 2 technology provided through s&box. This makes it one of the most financially attractive engines for any developer to launch on Steam. Valve and Facepunch are essentially paying it forward. They want to see the next generation of creators succeed without the weight of corporate greed crushing them before they start. But you might be wondering, why is Gary doing this? Why wouldn't he at least take a small cut? He is providing the tools and so much more. In November 2025, when he began the process of open sourcing s&box components, he said, "Valve gave me my chance. I'm already rich. I don't want to fuck anyone over." He expanded on
what a guy right there to basically just come out and be like, yeah, you know what, I've made my money already. I want to let somebody else try to do the same thing. Basically, like, that right there is the kind of guy that you want to look up to as a person, because he is a good person.
His entire 20-year career is thanks to Valve taking a risk on a modder from the UK back in the early 2000s. Gary's mod gave him more money than he could have ever dreamed of, and now he feels a responsibility to pass that torch. That's my main motivation now, is giving people what I've had, because I think Valve did it for me. I think we should be the same, because everybody benefits. So by making s&box standalone and royalty-free, Gary is recreating the Gary's mod moment for everyone else. Throwing a bottle in Half-Life Alyx or moving in CS2 feels so precise. For indies making physics-based games,
looking at that liquid move around like that is insane.
So s&box currently uses a customized version of Rubicon, which they call Box 3D Physics, as they've made tons of changes to it over the years. In terms of visuals, while Unreal has Lumen, it requires a massive amount of hardware power. s&box leverages Valve's VRAD 3 lighting and native Vulkan support. It gives you that crisp, clean Valve look, high-end lighting, and shadows that run smoothly even on mid-range hardware. It's AAA fidelity without the AAA hardware requirement. With zero royalties and the ability to launch on Steam, what is the first game you would build? Are we about to see the return of the classic Source mod era? But this,
you know what I would build? I would build a Call of Duty Zombies copy. I think that would be the first game that I would try to build, is a Call of Duty Zombies, like an old Call of Duty, like a Nazi Zombies. Not a copy necessarily, but like a Nazi Zombies. The only part that's going to be really difficult for games like that is still going to be finding places, and maybe they'll add something into this, I wonder, is going to be like finding sounds for like weapons, reloads, finding sounds for vocals, finding sounds for music, etc. that you're going to be using in your games. That stuff right there, I feel like is going to be a more difficult play there. However, what an interesting little thing that is about to be released here in less than a month. That is a very crazy thing that is about to hopefully change video games in general.